I'm Taylor from PrepScholar TOEFL. On the speaking section, we will have to answer 6 questions. Today we're going to be talking about the second of the questions that we will see on the speaking section. Let's talk a little bit about how this question works, and then discuss some advice on how to answer it. First of all, the question is an independent speaking question. That means we won't be asked to read text or listen to a conversation. We'll just be asked to give an answer to a question directly. Second, we will have exactly 1 minute to answer the question. After we hear the question, we will have 15 seconds to prepare our response, and then 45 seconds to actually speak the response. Lots of students get nervous about coming up with their own opinion on a question like this, especially in so little time. But don't worry. We're going to give you some advice on how exactly to answer this kind of question. Let's look at an example of what this kind of question will look like. The speaking question will typically ask us to choose between 2 options on an issue. There are different ways of doing this, but most typically, a question will look something like this. Some students like to study what might happen in the future. Other students prefer to study what has happened in the past. What do you prefer, and why? Okay, so how do we answer a question like this? The first step is to choose our opinion on the issue, or what we're going to call our position. So, how do you choose a position? We shouldn't worry too much about what we actually believe. It's a complicated question after all. We should just go ahead and choose a position that we are ready to defend. In particular, we should make sure that we choose a position that we can support with 2 reasons. Imagine we say we prefer to study the future. Then we can begin our answer by simply saying that. For example, we could say the following. I prefer to study what might happen in the future rather than what has happened in the past. I want to take classes on events that might happen soon and on new technologies. That's because studying the future is more important and more impractical than studying the past. We can then give a reason for our position. A reason is just any fact or argument that supports our position. We shouldn't worry too much about trying to give the best possible reason for our position. We should just go ahead and say something in favor of our position. For example, we could say something like, the future is more important because what happens in the future can affect me and my family. The past has already happened, so we don't need to worry about it. But we should worry about the future. For example, if there's a war in 10 years, that would have a big impact on all of us. So giving our position in our first reason should use up about 30 seconds of our response. We can then use our last 15 seconds to give another reason for our position and say something like this. Studying the future is more practical because as the economy changes, it will be useful for work. I won't get a job by learning about technology that was used 10 years ago, but learning about technology that will be used 10 years from now definitely might help me to get a job. So that's all we need to say. We've given our position and 2 reasons for our position in just about 45 seconds. That's what a good response sounds like. Okay, so let's review. On the second question of the speaking section, we have just 1 minute to give our response, so we need to use this time wisely. Don't think too much about what the right position is. Just choose a position that you can support with 2 reasons. Then go ahead and describe your position and give your reasons. Take about 15 seconds for each part. 15 seconds for your position, 15 seconds for your first reason, and 15 seconds for your second reason. No matter what, stay confident and keep talking. If you want to know more about how to do well on the TOEFL, just visit TOEFL.PrepScholar.com. At PrepScholar, we've developed a completely new TOEFL course, and we want to help as many students as possible do better on the TOEFL. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe so you can get the next video lesson from PrepScholar.